Dr. Hong, I will have you stay right here.
Yeah.
Up next, we'll hear directly from the source. So, our next session will go into Mind the Gap and Bridge the Gap, listening to the youth. And I will pass the mic over to Professor Hong.
Me again. Sorry about that. Don't get bored. And I'm going to moderating this session, and I'm going to invite 4 really important panelists. So, can I, Kelly, can I invite our panelists? Okay. So we have 4 different panelists for this session. So could you please come to the stage for the next session?
A big round of applause for all of our panelists, please. And one more round of applause for Dr. Hong.
So thank you, everyone, and I'm very glad to have all these panelists here, and it's great to have you all in this session. Thank you so much. And could you please briefly introduce yourself, and probably start from Dr. Jin?
Hello, everyone. My name is Yewon Jin, and I'm an assistant professor at Ewha Women's University, where I lead Play, Culture, and Technology Lab. So my research explores how human-technology relations are changing, especially in contemporary play culture, like such as gaming and esports, and focusing on how these transformation and shaped by social, cultural, and technological developments are reshaping our civilization. So, and before academia, I had my opportunity to work in gaming and esports industry for over a decade, so which gave me a unique perspective on my research.
Thank you, Yewon. Minso?
My name is Min Sung Lee, and I hold a PhD in sports science. And I currently serve as a research professor at Yonsei University in the Department of Sports Industry Studies. And I also collaborated as a senior researcher in T1 esports team. And it is truly an honor to me here today to speak about esports. And I'd like to appreciate the organizers for the kind invitation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minso. Please, Marike.
Hi. Hi, my name is Marieke Clusters. I'm from the city of Rotterdam. I'm Director Sports, Education and Culture. I make policy that contributes to equal opportunities for everyone. I'm not an active gamer, but my daughter is. I have a daughter with a neurodiverse brain, and after a day of full stimuli, I experienced that she's really relaxing by gaming after a full day. So that's my personal experience.
Thank you, Marike. Junon, please.
Hi, my name is Junwon Choi. I'm a judo athlete. I really got into these international sports, and I've also got my courage to esports. So I'm really hoping one day that I could work as an esports or international sports committee.
Thank you, Junan. And so I can see that everyone is very pleased to have our panelists. And I'm going to start with just a really general, common question for each panelist. And I'm going to move on to the little bit detailed question for each panelist. Okay, my first question will be, what does esports mean to you? Okay, so Yewon, please.
So I was a gamer since I could remember, and I was an esports audience after that. And then as a gaming and esports industry worker, I was lucky to be able to actually see how esports develop very rapidly, but really closely. And then through the process, what I realized was that esports, for me, it would be a process. The process of how we kind of integrate technology into our everyday lives and how we, by changing how we do things with technology, we kind of change how we see the world and how we do things, eventually leading to the process of changing our civilization. So as far as I could remember, other than the core idea that we play games competitively together, esports has been changing everything, incorporating the most recent development in every technology. So by saying this, I could probably say that esports development is sort of a genealogy of technicity over our time. So I think esports is the most interesting process. And I don't think esports is a finished industry, even though it's already grown and then it's like its industry scale is really large. I think it's still in changing process. And by looking at esports, we can probably see the glimpse of the future and how we'll do things in the future.
Okay, thank you, Yewon. Minso, please.
I think it is a very good question, but it's very difficult for me. For me, esports can be described as a, I'm sorry about that, it's whole my life. Yeah. Because when I was a child in Korea, there was a shop called Moonbanggu. Yeah. In front of the shop, there were small arcade video game machines. Yeah. I grew up playing games there, and I also watching the other older kids play games. In my eyes, today's esports is simply advanced version of the small scene in front of the Moonbanggu. Back then, it was just a little hobby, a small game, but now it has become professional tournaments and esports industries. And now I'm working inside this industry as a professional team, as a professional education universities. When I was a child, my grandma told me, "What will you become if you play like games like that? What will you become?" But now I'm teaching students in university, game, esports, and I also working with T1, also working with Faker, you know. This is why I can say esports is my life. Thank you.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you. Marike, please.
Yeah, in Rotterdam, we use the short name EGG for esports. And it stands for the E for esports, the top sport part, G for gaming, the recreational gaming, and the G for gamification. That's the contribution of gaming to non-gaming activities. And it fits very well in how we see in Rotterdam sports like a pyramid. You have a base with lots of sports and the social impact of sports. And on the top, there's the world champions and everything in between. And we see that esports really contributes to get people moving more than they're doing right now.
True. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Marike. And Junan, please. What does esports mean to you?
As time change, I do understand that the esports take a part in sports, But unfortunately, I do feel a little gap between these sports. As an athlete, I think the meaning of sports comes with sweat and breaking the limits. But meanwhile, in esports, it's a little behind because esports focuses on digital strategies, but while traditional sports focuses on breaking the limits. So I could see it as a sport, but I think filling in the gap will take a little time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone's insights and valuable account for the esports, meaning of esports. So we are going to ask a little bit detailed question for each panelist, depending on their position and their experience. So I'm going to start with Yewon. But actually, I'm really interested in this question as an academic, and how and why does an academic decide to study esports as a research topic?
So my academic background is in media cultural studies, and just probably because esports is the most interesting media and cultural phenomenon that we face. It was fastest growing youth culture recently, and But then the most interesting part of esports it's that it has everything in it. So it's a kind of at the crossroad of where different disciplines and different parts like media, sports, and production and everything, gaming and everything comes together. So as an academic, I am definitely interested in seeing how the kind of those scattered understanding of the world is kind of brought together in the realm of esports. So I'm not sure if you remember, but there is a esports research network where it's around like 600 researchers around the world. And when we first had our meeting in Sweden, Jönköping, in like 2018 or 19, it was around like 50 of us. But then I've never seen academics who are from different disciplines so excited about each other's research. So I think that had some potential, and I also see that in the industry too. I worked with a lot of people. I came from the gaming background, but then I worked with a lot of sports producers and also the creatives from different parts, and I think that's the real charm of esports.
Yeah, because that's the first time that I met Yewon last year in Manchester, and I was also very surprised at how many esports researchers are in the world. And then also Yewon and I contribute to the handbook of the esports, so that actually proved that certainly esports is an academic topic now as well. Okay, thank you, Yewon. And then also, why is South Korea the birthplace of esports and still gives the country a unique place on the world stages? So is it rooted in a Korean specificity?
So I think Hee-jung already explained basics about how the policies and the technological background kind of worked in the development of esports in Korea. But I think there is like two different things. Just based with that infrastructure, what Korea did differently than other country was that we had this tight community around the PC banks where we mostly played competitively, and then it kind of became a local community culture. So from that, we already had this training system that I used to go there as a middle school kid, and then all the grown-ups would be watching me play, and then they would say some stuff, and then you shouldn't play like that, you should try this. So that's how I learned how to play, and then I think even in that PC bank, we had a lot of fierce competitions. So I think that also facilitated growing these like real talents like Faker. And then another point as a media cultural researcher found really interesting is that Korea, like we kind of experimented with what we had. So not just have this PC bank culture, but we try to experiment with how we can share this culture with many others. And then one of the kind of fruitful result was that we were the first country to air esports as a regular programming on cable TV network. And I think by trying that, we kind of produced how we produced this format and how we can share this culture with other people, like all the people in Korea and like global audiences also.
That's really insightful. And then probably we can talk about this for a long time. But I would like to move on to the next question for Yewon. And what is, in your opinion, and the transformative power of esports in society, our society, and above all regarding the young generation?
So it's actually the topic of my PhD thesis, and I did a research on with the philosophy of technology. I tried to understand the ontology of esports, and then I realized that it was kind of a building civilizations for post-digital culture. Which by post-digital I mean that last 20 years could have been called as digitalization period, where we try to change everything that in our society into digital. But then now, by post-digital, I'm talking about where digital technology already became infrastructure technology, like electricity. And then those youth generation who grew up with the society where already electricity existed already, they have different way of doing things. And as I mentioned earlier, the first point would be kind of emergence of different sort of structures. So esports is about producing new technical structures, which is very mixed of heterogeneous generous beings, like human, non-human, digital, analog. And esports, in order to share this idea of competing in gaming, will do anything to kind of try. It won't be scared to try new things. So in esports, like every second, new structure is being emerged. And then because of this new structure, what these systems mean is that they change how we experience the world and how we imagine our relations. So for example, the youth generation, they see esports production, which kind of airs 4 different countries and continents doing the same broadcast in the same time. And then they don't see, in their perspective, the time and distance between these continents are compressed. So they do not think a different continent as someone far away. So these kind of effects and senses, it happens in esports, and then with that change, the youth sees the world differently from us. And then because their perception changed, their imagination's also different. And then lastly, because with these new imaginations, they challenge us with new concepts and how they do things. So I used to get emails from middle school and high school students in Europe that they want to be the editor for League of Legends Korea, the LCK production. And then it doesn't make sense to us grown-ups, but then they were really, they were sending me these reels, and I ended up hiring one of the high school student living in like countryside of Germany. So they imagine differently, and then they try, and then it eventually is negotiated in the scene of esports, not as in just the industry, but as a culture, and it becomes a norm again in esports. And I think that norm is being spreaded out to our general society too. So probably esports is already changing how you imagine sports and how you do things in sports too. So I think that's the transformative power that esports has.
Wow, thank you so much, Yewon, for the sharing the very advanced and also insightful knowledge in such a short time. So thank you so much. So we are going to move on to Minseok. And Minseok, it's a very important question. What is T1? And what is your role at T1, which has developed a comprehensive ecosystem and more importantly, include an academy to train future players in South Korea, the future fakers. Okay.
I think this question is a little surprising for me because I think T1 is one of the most famous esports team in the world. But however, since I got this question, I've prepared my presentation, my slide, to answer it more efficiently. So let's go ahead and take a look at the slide. Thank you very much. So as you can see, slide 1, the T1, and it has a greatest player named Faker. But T1 is not only about Faker. In the past, during the StarCraft era, the team also had boxer Im Yo-han, another legendary player. So T1 has more than 20 years of history. The T1 LOL, as you know, League of Legends team has proven their greatness with major tournament trophies. As you can see the slide, 10 LCK champions Korea, and 2 times MSI champions, and 1 time Esports World Cup champions, and 5 times League of Legends World Championship. That is why T1 is considered the best team in the world. But T1 is not just a League of Legends team. We have 7 or 8 teams. We also have teams in Valorant, FC Online, Teamfight Tactics, PUBG, fighting games like Tekken and Overwatch. And we also have many influencers who stream our games and who stream our events. And also we have sponsors like, as you can see the slide, Red Sea Global, SK Telecom, Samsung and Red Bull, and Spotify, Soup, Gold Studio, Bench. They make T1's ecosystem more vibrant and diverse. Let's take a closer look at how T1's business model works. For instance, T1 is not only compete in multiple games, but also collaborate with various of global partners, create content, engage fans, and develop merchandise. First, we have T1 Cafe and Arena. We naturally sell beverages, themes around our T1 players, like a Faker latte and Korea milk tea. And when we have a match, when we have a T1 match, it also serves as an offline viewing party venue. And second is a T1 base camp. It's basically PC Bang, it's PC Cafe in Hongdae branch. But in addition to that, we sell T1 merchandise and T1 goods. And of course, when there's a T1 match, it can also serve as a viewing party venue. And third, there's a T1 Esports Academy. At the academy, we train students who want to become professional players. And we also function as a training camp for second and third tier players in the esports ecosystem. In addition, just like what I do, we also train youth who want to work in the esports industries. First, we have T1 membership program. This really shows how engaged our fans are. Many people sign up for our paid membership to stay updated on T1 content, and we use the data to communicate with our fans to plan our business strategies. Thanks to those various business efforts, T1 team valuation has surpassed $2 million. Next. Since last year, T1 has been hosting an event called Homeground. It is the first home game event featuring official LCK stadium. T1 Homeground provides a one-of-a-kind fan experiences, fostering a new culture on esports cheering. Next slide, you can see the video. Can you turn turn on the video? Oh, yeah. This video is from a T1 home ground match held this past July. And through this clip, you can see just how passionately our fans cheer up how much they enjoy the games. At T1, I work as a senior researcher in T1 Esports Academy. The academy has three main programs. The first is Path to Pro for young players who wanted to become professionals like Faker, Honor, Keria, Kumayushi. And the second one is Path to Improvement. It's for casual gamers like me or us who want to improve their skills. And the third one is my program, is Path to Esports for young people who want to work in the esports industry. I am the lead instructor for the industry program. Over the last 2 years, I have taught more than 200 students. And about 10 to 20% of students already work in now T1, Genji, and Go other esports companies. My role is not only to teach, but also to guide students on what they need to prepare for careers in esports and help them in progress. In a similar way, I also contribute to players how to improving players' performance. For my perspectives, the most important point that to build a sustainable esports ecosystem, we need a steady supply of good talent entering the industry and ability to educate and nurture them well. If I add one more thing, yeah. Many people still think that careers in esports are limited to players in professionals. But in fact, there are a wide range of roles beyond that. For example, at T1, there are 7 main departments like business, like team operations, finance, academy, and etc. Because esports is somewhere between traditional sports and the future digital in entertainment. So esports has unique characters that require the tailored career education for young people entering the field.
Wow, so every point was really important, but lastly, so probably Yeon also agree. So the last point is something that I would like to highlight because this is a huge gap in literature and practice because young people only think that they want to be professional players. That's a really narrow pathway. However, there are a lot of different professions and jobs, and so they can contribute different way to the industry. So, like Dr. Lee said, that's actually where education is needed for the young people. Okay, thank you so much. But my question, another question, if I again, how do you see the future of esports? It's quite broad question, but also what bridge do you see between esports and traditional sports?
I see the future of esports in 2 big directions. The first is the connection with traditional sports, and the second is combination with future technology. First, let me talk about the traditional sports. Many traditional sports are now collaborating with esports for new fan experiences. In modern society, sports is basically a content business. So we need to be consumed by people to survive. In this sense, esports is already strongly consumed by young generations and is being recognized as a future of sports. We can see in this fact that the IOC and Asian Games are now including esports. Cyber sports and virtual sports as well. So I believe esports will expand beyond being just games and grow together with traditional sports. The second direction is future technology. This is also connected with game IPs. For instance, here everyone knows Pokemon, right? Everyone knows Pokemon, even they don't know about T1. Now imagine that Pokemon could appear in front of our eyes through AR technology. It may sound unrealistic now, but in the future it can be possible. So also imagine League of Legends is not only in the monitor, but actually appearing in real space. So if esports can combine with these future technologies, it can grow into a new kind of sport that makes our imagination comes true.
Thank you, Winsor. Educate us about T1 and then the broader industry implication. By the way, T1 is probably only 20 minutes away by subway, roughly, from Jamshid.
30 minutes in.
Yeah, so I know you guys have a really tight schedule, but if you are interested, it's not too far away. So Marike, probably you would like to buy some souvenir for your daughter. That's the option. And so for now, we actually learn a lot about the esports in Korea, but I'm really excited and learn about what's happening in Europe, especially Rotterdam. So Marike, so probably we are going to play video first before we move on. Yes, yeah. Wow, that's very nice. So, wow. Thank you so much for this really nice video. So, Marke, my first question would be, because we are talking about city of Rotterdam. So, Rotterdam has conducted a research project and also experiment to engage with esports. So, why is the necessary step from your point of view, and how has it developed and materialized?
Yeah. In Rotterdam, we call it a living lab. And it started a couple of years ago with contributions from the national government. They gave us a budget to explore how to increase the new targeted groups in sport. And Rotterdam chose to set an ambition to become the esports capital of our nation. So we set up a research program with experiments to use esports to gain new targeted groups like the young generation. And I think in the project we had a cooperation with research with sport clubs and gamers and the traditional sports, and that gave us a lot of information about esports and the effects.
Wow. And then, because I live in Europe as well, and this is something that different that I experience in UK. Although I cannot say that I experience everything in the UK, but it's really interesting. And then, so can you give a specific example of your experiment?
Yeah, of course. In the video, we saw a couple of examples from the experiments we did. A couple of experiments were where we use gaming in the sports, like at the skill court. We call it Olympia in Rotterdam. You can find interactive courts to make the sports interactive with new technology. We have a gym, a gym wall at the normal sports clubs. We really see that it attracts young people to come to the club and do physical sports and gaming together. But I think another examples of the experiments in Rotterdam, is gaming that facilitates clubs to gain information and to let communities grow, and it also contributes to a more inclusive society. Let me give you two examples. One is we call it game buddies. In Rotterdam, we have young people, like in South Korea and every country, young people with disabilities. So young people who are disabled and not. It's harder to connect to a sport club or to be part of the society. And with Game Buddies, we provide them extra support to explore gaming and to connect with new communities. And we discovered that it really helps young people to be more connected to other people. So it really contributes to more inclusive sports. And the last example, you saw it also in the video. It was our e-cup. We organized it this spring at Ahoy, one of our venues in Rotterdam. And at the e-cup, we invite young people from all over the country, esport gamers, esporters, to come to Rotterdam and compete with their amateur clubs at football. And the final, we organized it in the Kuip. And the Kuip is also a great stadium from our largest football club. So it was very professional and it was very, you saw it on the video, it was very dynamic. With a lot of young new people. And there was a great inclusive community with a lot of different people who did sports together. It was really nice.
Wow. This is very, very impressive because this initiative experiment actually bridge the sports and esports because they include physical activity and then also more importantly community building. I think this is key. And then also even in sports industry, the social inclusion and diversity are the main thing that we consider. But then your experiment already consider social inclusion, diversity, which is very, very impressive. So can I ask another question? And so out of this, what lesson and have the experiment in Rotterdam taught us?
Yeah, we did it 3 years at the program, and it provides us a lot of lessons. One of them is that it gains more new volunteers at the sport clubs. So it really contributes to future-proof sport clubs when they integrate esports in their traditional sport experience. It also inclusive sports and society. You already mentioned it, especially for people with disabilities. We see it increase the visibility and support and appreciation of esports when we stimulate it in our city. And we expect that esports make it will be a structural part of the clubs and the policy in the city. So also with the cooperation with the business community in our city.
Yeah. So this is a really huge lesson because I assume that at most of the city and especially Olympic city that you host the Olympic, probably our concern recently is to how we engage young people with the Olympic sports and physical activity. So here is a really good practice from the Rotterdam. So thank you, Marike, so much. So
Yeah, if I may add one last thing, because I think your conclusion is a very important conclusion because we saw in our city that if we want to stay connected with young people and we want to connect with young people in the sports, it's really necessary to combine it with the esports. And I think in Rotterdam we experienced that when you are serious, really truly serious about esports, then it is not divided like two different things. It's combined, and it really increased the participation of young people in the city. So it's I really recommend it to all the cities who are here right now.
Marcus, sorry, because I wrote the star because this question is very interesting and I really want to know more about it. And then, so do you have any other comments on the specific esports initiative for young people in particularly meaningful to you? Do you have any further comments on this?
No, I think this is really the most important conclusion in Rotterdam after we did the program. Maybe one last example, because examples they're really inspiring for other cities. We had the TwitchCon event in Rotterdam, and it was held in again at Rotterdam Ahoy, and it attracts fans from over the whole world. And we saw a lot of young people from all over the world were playing together with sports and traditional sports. And the team is mind the gap and bridge the gap. And we saw at the event that it's possible when, as I'm a policymaker, when you really be serious about gaming as part of your sports policy.
Thank you so much. If I'm given the opportunity, I would like to visit Rotterdam to learn more about your initiative.
You should do it.
Definitely. It's only 1 hour away. So thank you so much, Marke. And so we have last two panelists. This is here, young athlete here. So Juno, thank you for waiting. And so my first question is as a former elite judoka, and do you feel a gap between esports world and traditional sports you are from?
Well, these days, a lot of people do not watch a full-time match. They tend to watch a short highlighted video that is 10 to 20 minutes long. And don't get me wrong, they still love sports, but they just don't put as much as time they used to before. So I think attracting a lot of fans in a short time video is really important. So I thought about an example. So like, let's just imagine FIFA esports players meeting up with real footballers, and they exchange the roles. Like, so esports players get on the field, try real football, and footballers getting on the controller and trying esports. That video would bring a lot of fans to an interest, and also an esports fans and real life football fans will come to a same world in one place. So I think making those bridges and coming together would be a really important advertisement video for both worlds.
Thank you. And probably a little bit similar question, but can you highlight it, similarities and differences between athlete and esports players?
Well, coming into similarities, they both have really good teamwork, and I also believe that in esports, teamwork is the key, and they might even have better teamwork than I do. And also, in the same environment that are given to both athletes, they need the ability to prepare for unexpected moments, such as injuries or new strategy changes. But no matter how much you prepare, unexpected moments always do exist in matches. So I think those are the similarities for both athletes. And for differences, traditional athletes train with their body, physique. So they train for power, speed, and flexibility, while esports train for fast reflexes and digital strategies. Also, coming onto fan bases, traditional athletes fans come from a very different variety, while esports fans are most likely based on fans who love gaming, who are interested in esports. So I think that's kind of the difference between fans.
Thank you so much. Actually, that's actually complement my short presentation about this difference between esports and sport. And probably Juno mentioned injury as a similarity. So probably Yewon and Minseok also got similar the question: do esports player get injured? Yes, they do. And that actually caused their early termination of their career, which can be a problem, and they create the psychological distress and then also affect their mental well-being. So injury really important not only for the high performance athlete but also for the professional players. So it's quite similar question that I asked Minso. What kind of bridge can be built between these two different or similar words?
Like a bridge for like the two worlds combining. I think it's basically based on how fans react. Like on traditional sports, fans tend to watch because it's mostly a human cannot do something. So they tend to get attractive and they tend to watch athletes do something that is mostly impossible. But in esports, it's a game. So fans who like something attractive or active might not find it as interesting as it is. But I think building a bridge by bringing both fans to one place is really important.
Thank you so much for your insight. And I can't see the time, but I think we are approaching the lunch time. So I wonder any panelists have any further additional comments? No? Okay. So probably I think I have to hand over to Kelly Kim.
All right, everybody. Before we let our panelists go, does anybody have a question? Yes.
Thank you for the amazing presentation. So my question is around the gender demographic dimension. So I saw it was in one of the professional teams there. It was all men's team. What's the gender breakdown when it comes to professional esports, and then maybe on the more recreational gaming side as well, if you can comment and speak to that. And to what extent would you say there's gender equality in esports and recreational gaming? Thank you.
So, as for the professional athletes, I think we're still struggling to kind of overcome how we're going to deal with this issue. I think maybe Hee-jung and Min-seok could have better answer for professional athletes. And for me, if like in terms of like audience aspect, we've been seeing a huge inflow of female audiences and also people who play recreational esports. And I think it also shows very interesting aspects that when we did esports match in our LCK stadium, we have like 400 seats, and then maybe more than 300 are filled with female audiences. And then even now, we're seeing more inside of fandom, this female fandom is taking charge of how they run fandom. So I think we are probably seeing very interesting dynamics there too.
Thank you, thank you. So based on only one study I conducted, and then it's a Korean case study, and then I investigate a casual gamer in South Korea, and then surprisingly, my participants more than 50% was female. So as a casual player, so probably they reflect the culture in the gaming culture in South Korea, like my mom playing, which is very common in South Korea. And Minseok?
So in the professional scene, gender equality is still very complex. issue. So it's not easy to give you a simple answer, but in my case, we look at the fan scene, especially in Korea. We actually see a strong and growing female fan bases, about 9-1, female 9 and 1 to male. Yeah. So that's where a lot of attentions in currently being focused.
Thank you, Min-sung. And I hope this answers your question. Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you once more for Dr. Hee Jung-hong, Dr. Ye-won Jin, Min-suk Lee, Maria Klosters, and Ju-won Choi. Big round of applause. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what an exciting morning it has been from AI to esports. We're just getting started, but now we will take a break for lunch. A lunch buffet awaits you upstairs, so please follow the halls to the elevator, or if I may recommend, the stairs. We will return by 1:40 as our next session begins at 1:45. Thank you.